What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another show. I'm Neil with TCGM, and this is our weekly live broadcast recorded from podcast. So a little extra cup to get us started today. Hope you guys had a good day. You're halfway through the week, and we're keeping it moving.
Seasons don't feel the reaper, nor do the wind, the sun, or the rain. We can be like they are. Come on, baby, feel the reaper. Baby, take my hand.
Don't feel the reaper, baby. So this is a great show lined up today. We've got pretty much wide open, and we're going to be taking callers, and that's really what we're going to be doing today is just taking calls. So I'm going to type the phone number in here that you can call into, and we'll give you the opportunity to call in and chat with me. And it's wide open. We can just talk about just about everything and anything you want to talk about, as long as it's somewhat wind related. And we can chat about it. I'm down to talk about it. So the number here is 435-709-8246. Here we go. We're going to show this here. 435-709-8246. Call in, and or I will also share this link here to this broadcast. You can see it right into the comments. You can actually be a part of this show, and I can bring you on as a guest, and we can see your face. We can interact. We can chat. So while we're waiting for calls, again, the number is right up there, 435-709-8246. That's 435-709-TCGM. You can call this number and chat with me. So I just got back from Canada. As you can see, my buddy Randy's not with me today. He just barely walked into the door, working hard out at the wind farm. So we're just taking this thing in solo today, and that's going to give you guys an opportunity to join in. But got back from Canada. Things are going well. Spent a whole week out in the Gaspé Coast with Evan Mulrooney from Tekial, who's the owner of Tekial, and man, did I have a good time. I can't explain how much fun I really had. Like I had such a good time. I might even be able to share some pictures with you guys. Absolutely amazing. We went to multiple wind farms. We went out to the coast. We went fishing. I flew the drone around places that I probably shouldn't have flown them around. And there's this license that you're supposed to get, but shh, I didn't have the license. But don't tell anybody, okay? So I got a license, to fly here or whatever, but not in Canada. But I was like, yeah, for sure, I got those things. So don't tell anybody. But we didn't crash or anything, so I think that's good. But man, we've got some just beautiful drone footage. I'll actually share it here with you guys. I can show you some of this stuff. I'll share my screen here, and you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm going to bring this up here so you guys can see, and all those guys on the podcast. We'll kind of just let you listen in, but check this out here. Great stuff. I'm going to kind of scrub through it so you can see it. But look at this wind farm. Isn't that beautiful? And man, can't you see just wow, look at that. So these guys are actually doing an oil change on this particular turbine here. You can see there's a line coming down, and the guys are up there pumping the old oil out and pumping the new oil in, and quite a slick setup there. I think there's even a guy that pops up out of the top on this one. I don't know. This is pretty fun though. You can also see here, let's see some of the, check this out. You got to see this. This is actually what's called Percy Rock. And I'm flying my drone around at this place, and you could see the seagulls flying around. I actually got a seagull came after me in the drone, and it totally hit the drone. And I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. I just get hit by a seagull. And I think it might be actually on this video. Yeah, so here I am buzzing up over, look at this. What a beautiful view. Hopefully I can show you this to you, but look at that beautiful view. Oh man, it stopped. But wow, look at this. This is where I was at. Can you believe that? That's amazing. Gorgeous, man. Love it. So we spent the whole week there. Tried to do as much as I could as far as, you know, working from Canada. But we did a great live interview. If you haven't seen it already, it's on the Facebook page, and we posted it up to YouTube as well. If you zoom in here, you can see that's me and Eric hanging out. I'm flying the drone, and he's watching, and we're having a good time. But great trip, really good food. Had the best company, met the greatest people. Canadians are really, really nice people, man. I really enjoyed having them, show me around and just, be great hosts. So special thanks to Tech Y'all and everything that they did. I really can't wait to make the after video, where like the compilation of everything that we did. So that should be coming up soon. In the meantime, tonight we are going to talk about just about anything that you guys want to talk about. I can see that we've got a few people here saying hello, and I encourage you guys to call this number and chat with me, man. We're going to talk about just about anything we can. This week has been kind of crazy on the Facebook group. We've had all kinds of conversations going on here on the Tower Climbing Grease Monkeys Facebook group. Most recently today, actually, we had a pretty interesting conversation about Donald Trump. So if you want to talk about Donald Trump on this and this video here, about him talking about wind turbines and talking about coal and all of that, or if you just want to talk about this thing that I've got here that you can see on this screen, which is this awesome new pit bike that I just bought. We can talk about what we're going to do with this pit bike, and maybe give you some hints as to what's going on with that. I guarantee you're going to be excited about that one. Really cool, fun little toy. I'm going to go rip it around this weekend and try it out. And, I think we're going to customize this thing with, some custom TCGM graphics and some blue plastics and really deck this thing out. So in the meantime, I'm going to have some fun with it. So I thought one thing that was interesting, back to this this post about Donald Trump, man, let me read some of the comments on here. And again, if you guys want to join in, you guys are more than welcome. There's a link here to it says Be Live TV Production Studio. All you got to do is click on that and copy that, and then download this little app if you're using your phone, or if you're using a laptop, you just follow that link on here. But back to this this Donald Trump thing. Like, I usually don't let these posts go for very long. I just don't. You can see it here. This is the one we're talking about. I wish I could play the audio from it, but I can't. But he's pretty much kind of just saying, wind turbines. Well, he's not even calling them wind turbines, just calling them turbine, or he's calling them windmills. So that's like the first knock against him. It's just so you guys know, like, I'm not either for or against this dude. I didn't vote for him. I voted for somebody else, but that's okay. But you know what? He's our president, so I'm just like, all right, let's see what you do, bud. In 4 years or 8 years or however many you got. I kind of all think that the politicians are just like these, lower level. I had this really cool post that said, there's a tier to it, and I think I got it from my buddy Gus's Facebook. and it was simply, it showed like all the pieces of a checker, or not a checkerboard, but a I'm going blank here, of a chessboard. And so the chessboard had, the king, and it said the central banks, and then it was the queen, which was the government, or it was, I think it was the government, and then it was the military, and then we're, I don't know, whatever it was. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I don't think that the president runs too much. I think they all try to like change policy and stuff, but I have no idea if they really even do. But I can tell you this: as an entrepreneur, I tried to get health insurance through Obamacare because it was a change for me, right? I left my employer and then I came to run TCGM, and I was denied. I was told that I missed the period to get healthcare, and I thought this was a qualifying event. I quit my job and started my own company, and they would tell me no, that's not the case, and I had to wait till November. So that's interesting, right? I wasn't too happy about that. So maybe that's one thing that they can change. But as far as like energy policy and all that, maybe he's got tariffs going on and all this stuff. But there's lots of fun comments in here, some of which are pretty inappropriate, and I can't actually read out loud. so I won't. But definitely, I'm going to read some of the more important ones that I thought kind of hit home. So I like these ones down here. So Joey says, windmills. I guess the grain grinding industry is going to suffer now. Poor Dutch people are going to be pissed. So I thought that was funny. And then Stanty says, he wrote a rather lengthy thing. He says, we should take these down, or we shouldn't take these down, meaning the post about, Donald Trump. So we shouldn't take these down. And we should have these conversations with a little name calling, or with as little name calling as possible. The problem is that at some point, environmentalists decided that wind turbines were bird puree machines. I agree. I don't know when that happened. Like when I first started in this industry, I thought environmentalists were our friends. And now it seems like they're kind of attacking us, or at least some of them are, or at least the ones that are getting paid by people who don't like wind or something. I don't know. Stan goes on to say, in fact, the lattice towers were killing birds of prey when their prey went under them and the birds hit the lattice. This happens in lattice, utility, and radio included. A few birds are hit by blades. I'd agree, like out of 10 years I spent out in the field, I saw maybe one bird get hit by a blade, a few remnants where I'm pretty sure they got hit because their like heads got cut off. But other than that, they seem to just like run into something. But went from Greenpeace friends to enemies at the drop of a hat. I agree, man. I saw that change too. We lost a lot of Democrat support then. This president is reciting a Democratic talking point because he has been a Democrat for so long. The subsidy part of his talk, Republican talking. That's the thing too that we have to like head off and just discuss. All energy sources get subsidies, and no one's talking about that. And it kind of bothers me because it's like we're the only ones, and I think we should get it at some point in time, and then eventually just let it go. He goes on to say, this reaches stupidity across the aisle. All energy is and has been subsidized. Wind is not different. We need to do better at educating these folks, but who is going to do that? I used to give tours to Congress folks, but feel that has greatly died down. Now, I think that Stan's right here, and somebody else had actually mentioned as well that, what are we doing? Are we actually, reaching out to these congressmen or congresswomen, or even to the Trump to just educate them on what's really going on. And if we weren't, we probably should, right? And at that point, if they just say, screw you, and we don't want to listen, then we at least tried. But I can tell you that the only contact I've ever had with a government official, aside from the ones that came out to the wind farm, like Stan was saying, to give them a tour, was really just the other week when I got this declaration from our governor here in the state of Utah, after I worked with the WIA to petition him to acknowledge wind power and what it does in the state of Utah. So that was pretty much my only interaction between myself and any government official. So I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. If I could do more, I'd like to think that I could probably do more. There's plenty more to be done for sure. My thing is, how do I do that? Do you guys know? You should call in and talk to me. Maybe some of you guys are really active in the community, because you and I both know, like, you have to be politically active in this whole thing in order to get things done, right? And for me, I want to create a cool research facility slash ultimate like training school slash fantasy factory for the tower climbing grease monkeys here in southern Utah. And I know the only way to make that happen is to get support from maybe my local government, my state government, and even better, the federal government. I don't have all the connections I need to do that, I don't think, but I'll be darned if I don't try a little bit, right? So in the meantime, I think we're gonna hide this thing here, and you guys don't seem to be too excited about calling in, but I'm gonna put this phone number back in and see if you guys want to chat a little bit. It's 435-709-8246. Just give me a call, and we can chat a little bit. We can chat about whatever you want. I think then even later this week, or earlier this week, we had another conversation in here. But back onto this Trump thing, man. I think there's some other good comments in here. So from Walter Christmas, who is a teacher at a school up in Colorado, he says, once again, it goes completely ignored that we are exactly weaker and weaker grades of coal, or we're extracting weaker and weaker grades of coal with diesel-powered machines fueled by an increasingly expensive petro product. Not only is our EROI, so our energy return on investment, declining with coal, but the monetary cost of extracting the same amount of usable energy is going up. That has far more to do with the demise of coal than anything else. The results of unreliable projections of the cost makes it impossible for coal power plant owners to negative long-term power purchase agreements with competitive prices. And then he goes on to say, and when he compares oil to coal, oil is almost entirely purchased out of electric generation as a source. Oil and coal don't compete with each other. Yeah, oil is used in our cars, not so much with turbines. So great comments from Walter. I was actually surprised there wasn't a lot of name calling and crazy nonsense coming up here. Obviously I know that there are Donald Trump supporters, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You can be a Donald Trump supporter, more power to you, man. I hope the dude changes everything, for the good, if he can. I know I would like to see that. I don't have too high hopes, but it is what it is. So, but if you guys want to talk about it, you can call in. Let's see what else is going on this week. After I got back from Canada, there were some cool pictures and stuff. People sharing pictures of their motorcycles. I wanted to share something with you guys. So if you didn't know already, you probably have seen that we've been posting up a lot of jobs. Those jobs are all legitimate jobs that I post on our jobs board. Now, our jobs board is simply, you just got to go to our website, which is tcgm.us, and then you got to go up to the jobs tab, and I'll show that to you right now. Here's the jobs tab, and you can see here we've got a job for Advistar, Wintex, World Wind and Solar, based out of Tehachapi, World Wind and Solar Travel with Siemens and Gamesa experience. We've got one from Wintech Recruiters for a guy with GE experience in Laredo, Texas area, a Tech 2. And we've got one from our friends at Field Corps for a traveling commissioner job. So if you guys are looking for jobs, and or you're looking for a change, in opportunities or whatever it may be, give it a look. Check out the jobs board. I think it'll be something good for you to check out. We also post them to Facebook, so you can see that. I'd love to see you guys, get jobs like TCGM. That's one of the things we've done for a long time, is help people get jobs and have employers get good qualified people. I think today I was actually running around with my daughter, and so first thing this morning I had some calls, and I had to get her ready, and then we went off to go and go try to find this pit bike, and we're like, where are we gonna find this thing? And I found one, and I went and got it. Oh, cool. We got a caller calling in.
Call from.
It's Cooper.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hey, what's up, Cooper? This is Neil from the TCGM show.
Yes, sir. How you doing? How you been?
I'm doing well, man. How are you doing?
Good. Just tapping into the podcast. So I wanted to call in and kind of continue the conversation. It's pretty good. I like it.
Yeah, man. We had a little conversation going on about Donald Trump and like how his policies seem to kind of affect our industry and how that works. I'm no political scientist, but I think he's trying to kind of shut wind down. I mean, would you agree?
Well, I guess that's kind of how it is going with the machine. I guess when you like you said before, I think he was kind of a Democrat, and he's seems like a pretty level-headed guy, but at the same time, he's a businessman at the same time, so he has to. There's possibly other interests that he has going on, so he has to kind of go with the machine, probably tap in. Like him in this presidency gives him access to so many countries at the same time, so it's kind of like there's some other motive to it. You know what I'm saying? So that's Republicans. Has it been historically probably like that for the past, 15, 20, 30 years possibly, that Republicans naturally, oil, coal, the fuels, because those guys that are the Republicans used to be the business owners, what I've been kind of researching.
Yeah, I mean,
what do you think about that?
I immediately, when we got him into office, I thought, or even when he was just like throwing his hat into the game, right? I thought,
yeah,
well, this guy's a businessman, and that could be good, but he could also pat his pockets, right? I mean, politicians are pretty notorious for that, and it's pretty consistent as far as in my short time here on this earth, my 34 years on this earth, that I've seen that ultimate power corrupts absolutely, and it takes a really strong man to not be corrupted by those types of things. And I've seen good and bad things about this man. I've watched some documentaries that completely slander him about his development business and how he's mistreated people and backed out of deals and just essentially licensed his name across every building possible just to make money, and basically used his status of being, the real life Richie Rich to, play off of that and then get this TV show, which was really just like kind of a joke, but then ended up being something. And so he switched it and then used it to his advantage. And I thought, well played, man, good for you. But I always kind of thought like he was kind of like a rebel, he was like rebelling against what you were calling the machine.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool. So there was all these different parts to it that I couldn't quite figure out what was good and what was bad. So I'm still kind of indifferent, and I just kind of sit back and I watch. But as far as my industry as a whole, it's kind of tough.
Exactly what I've been doing. Exactly. So it's a thing where you gotta sit back. He talks a good game. He's gone after certain things, but his whole campaign, it seems like everybody's just, just a pissing match going back and forth.
The Twitter feeds are just like, I can't believe it, right? I'm like, wow, like this is going on. He's really saying this stuff.
Trolling whoever he can. And, it's just like having that one drunk uncle that just says dumb stuff out in a public place and you just shut up.
Will you stop that, man? Come on, man. You're making this hard for me.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think it's just, like Democrats usually are the, the energy type, but then
historically, right?
It's the nature of the beast. I want to say the Republicans, naturally, the oil, coal, everybody else, Bushes, the Bush family, all those people have been kind of linked with those people. They're all linked with each other, but at the same time, there's
and even if they're not linked, like
those things where they have the stereotypes of like a Democrat and a Republican. I say there's the left wing and the right wing on the same bird, so they just kind of.
I like that. That's a good saying. Left wing and a right wing on the same bird. That's actually really well put. And I think there's obviously somebody that keeps the birds too. So
exactly.
that's why they're like the pigeons, and like some guys out there clapping, making them fly in a certain direction. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of what I was hinting at earlier with the big investment banks and things like that, because we kind of know that's what makes the world go around. What I really love though, and which is a clear statement to anybody who's investigating wind power, is huge financial institutions are putting a lot of money into developing wind projects. I know so because I helped work on them. I know who the investors are. Banks don't tend to invest in things that aren't a good investment, right? So I kind of lead people back to that. If you think wind isn't a good thing and it's not a good return on investment, then maybe you should look and follow the money and see who's actually investing. And these large companies like Google and General Motors and Budweiser, and you name it. I mean, all of these huge companies, they're making investments into renewable energies, and it's not just because they're getting kickbacks. It's because it actually pays off. And turns out you don't have to fill it with anything other than guys who can work on it, which is the tower climbing grease monkeys, and maybe oil every 5 years when you got to change it out. And that's nothing compared to, constantly filling a burner with a bunch of coal. That's kind of getting played out, right?
Yes. So, well, at the same time, it's like you say, the people, the oil tycoons, all those guys that are in power, they know this. They know it's certain, but it's like the way of the world. It's not just with the United States. We're, 3-4% of the population of the world, but everybody uses oil so much that they still want to have their hand in it. And it's a great investment, like you say. It's a great investment for all these companies because, number one, if they invest in it, their bills, especially on, it's that first initial, like you said, remember on our previous conversation, knowing how much it costs to build one of those and how
Right.
much they're saving in the long run. So, if it's, like you say, it's able to power enough to operate, 700 homes,
Right.
they're like, okay, so with our factories, with our stuff like that, hopefully they've been doing that and connecting it. So that perfect, that's perfect for the perfect for what they want to do, because they have these. There's so much, there's so much out there. There's so much that they can do, but I think it's the people that are in power as far as our gas and our oil. That's what's moving the world.
Yeah, I agree, man.
They don't want to let that go per se just yet. Maybe until the water runs dry.
Yeah, it seems like they're like diversifying the portfolio as far as their money goes. They're like, all right, we'll give wind a little bit of money, but we still got our mainstay with oil, right?
Exactly.
Or with
You got
coal,
the lion's share, with the
fossil
oil and
fuels.
coal, oil mainly, oil and gas. So
Yeah,
they have that. But when we were in high school, I remember seeing, or even junior high school, seeing articles about the electric cars, and then it seemed like one person was going to back in the 90s, late 90s, but then they kind of just bought it, or some person just ended up disappearing out of nowhere.
yeah,
There were certain little issues, but what it took is Elon Musk, who was a billionaire, who was like, screw it.
right. And I kind of like see
you know?
some similarities between him and Donald Trump. I mean, not necessarily like mental, where he sees the vision, but he's like stubborn enough to say, I'm gonna do this no matter what. No one's gonna shut me down. No one's killing my electric car.
He has the capital, but that's the thing. It's what it takes. It's going to have to take somebody with the capital to speak out against it or speak out for it. And then it kind of like, the newer, I would say, millionaires and billionaires, it's going to take them with him,
Right.
with whoever it would be.
Yeah, it's almost like a battle, like new money versus the old money. And like that old money's powerful, right? Like we got the Rockefellers, we got these people who built this country that made, a fortune for lifetimes. And that's a definite hard egg to crack, right? And it's the way of it right now, at least.
Yeah, that's what it's going to take. It's going to take somebody, because I was always thinking about that when we last talked, and I was like, man, it's going to, there were places like how you say, you no matter what, these wind farms, if you set one up, it has to go to the electric company. It seems like it has to go to the electric company. You sell it to the electric company sells it to everybody else.
Yeah. And one of the things too is, there's a certain amount of electric companies out there or off takers for this wind energy that are up for it. They're good with it. But there's other energy companies and stuff that they're not too into it. There's some that are just like, they're the flagship and they say, look at this is what we can do. A great example of a company that's just fully committed to renewable energies is a company in overseas. And I forgot what it used to be called, but now it's called Ørsted. And they used to have a bunch of stuff in their portfolio, and they honestly just like are phasing it out or got rid of all of it. And now they're just all about renewable energy. And I thought, what a cool step, because these guys have been around for a long time. And as much as I can, I try to share that type of stuff, because it really does take these energy companies, throughout the United States to figure out, hey, this is the right thing to do, and let's do it. There's a lot of moving parts with this, huh?
Yeah, there is. See, and that's what I'm saying. It's the thing where there's a little bit more to it. You can't just, even if you have the capital, you can't just plop up a fan. Like, I remember us talking about it. You can't just plop up a fan and then it's going to be an eyesore to the community. Somebody's going to complain about it. Somebody, even if it's the person that doesn't have the capital or does have the capital, or the companies in between,
Yeah.
Overseas, it seems like in the European countries or whoever, they're more open for it because they're not, it's just, it seems like Europeans, Canadians, everybody's a little slightly more progressive on things than we are as far as any issues. If you go and you talk about the energy, you're talking about healthcare, you're talking about this, that, and the other, all these other countries in the European and Canadian countries, it's slightly more progressive. It's more like, what Republicans would call over here handouts, like, Canadians, free healthcare. You can go get free healthcare.
And education. We went to a spot in Canada this week that people, like, if you want education, if you want to be a wind turbine tech, you don't have to pay. Isn't that crazy?
Wow. They said what?
Yeah, like this is like in the province of Quebec. If you want to go to the school, they'll make you a wind turbine tech. It was amazing.
Wow.
I thought, wow, this is a cool deal. I think there's some other things involved with that. I think like higher taxes and things like that. But still, man.
Yeah. You have to. That's the give and the take, the push and the pull.
Yeah.
But it's progressive. Your stuff is not going to be as damaged. As far as you're talking about air quality, you're talking about all these different things that you're over. They're thinking in the moment, and then certain countries seems like it's like they're thinking 40, 50 years from now.
Right. So I'm actually going to go to Hamburg, Germany on the late September. We're going to go to the big wind show out there. And man, that's going to be really cool. So I'm going to get to talk to some of those people out there, kind of get to know them, get to know the space there. Wind energy has existed in Europe for a lot longer than it has here, or at least it's progressed a lot faster. And I don't know if that's necessarily out of, because they've already seen the negatives behind coal, like big rolling blackouts and all of these things, and they're just learning and adapting quicker, or if it's just that they just see it as a benefit, or maybe the political atmosphere just sees it more of a benefit. Because I think it's pretty much been proven that we're definitely affecting the planet, whether you think so or not. I'm on that side of the fence. Like, I'm pretty darn sure that we're, impacting the planet in a way. I mean, like you said, when we grew up, man, you remember actually, like, I could not go out to play at recess. Sometimes we had to stay inside because the air quality was so bad. So that alone,
heat warnings.
Right. It was crazy. Like, it was like the smog is too bad. I was like, what? So just that alone tells me, okay, man, maybe we should probably like do some stuff about, making it a little bit cleaner. And, I've been to China. I saw the pollution there. I guess it's getting a little bit better. They've got a lot more wind, but with this whole new thing with India coming in and them wanting to build their nation on fossil fuel, I mean, man, I'm pretty sure we're just living in a bubble here. Like, it's not like we can just like open a hatch, let the stuff out, and then close it back. Let the bad out and the good in. We kind of got to take care of it. At least that's my thing, man.
That is true. We'll see. And those are things where we have to be wary. That's why now it seems like these larger companies, are starting to go hybrid and the natural gas and all these different sources of energy, but they still want to keep the gasoline, the oil, all that stuff going, because they see how China, it don't matter. Like, oh well, it took for people to get, you're almost getting black lung in China.
Yeah, exactly. You got to wear the masks. Like, that's not a fashion statement, folks.
No, it's not. Definitely not. So
yeah, that's a necessity.
We're in between the European, rule as far as like how things are going as far as progression, but then we still have it where it's like, well, that's the cash cow.
Right.
That is the cash cow worldwide.
I feel you,
man. No matter what, that's just what it is. Of course, naturally, if we went to, if you go and set up, 1,000 acres of wind turbines, yeah, you can do a lot. You can power a whole city or half, how it is in Palm Springs.
Yeah.
I think it's like 2/3 of it is powered by these wind turbines.
I don't know the exact facts there, but man, Palm Springs has enough wind turbines to power a lot.
large percentage of it
Yeah.
is powered by that, you know. So, but then also it's another thing too. It's just like you say, it matters on who's in control of that. But I forgot, but years ago I found out, you know, Palm Springs, like 2/3 of it, or a lot of it, is a reservation.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Like an Indian reservation,
get,
like, but not.
yeah, they get a piece of even the airport that's over there. So the money that the airport makes, I was hearing about it. I know about it because I was working the law enforcement on a reservation here in San Diego County.
Oh,
Like
okay.
North San Diego, Temecula borderline. But, and then, you know, as you start working with them, start talking to them, and all the natives, you know, there's people coming from all across, from San Diego, Riverside County, San Manuel, and then you got Palm Springs and stuff like that. But yeah, they were telling me that, you know, majority of a good portion of Palm Springs, more than half, is the reservation.
Wow.
So that's why there's certain things out there where these people have those resorts and, you know, these leases that they're like 99-year leases and stuff like that. They have those out there too.
Yeah, that's like in Mexico. Like Americans can't own land in Mexico. You can only lease it for 99 years.
Mm-hmm.
My grandpa found that one out. That was a good one. That I think what I would love to see is like communities like that, especially reservations or even, you know, non-reservations, go to more of like a microgrid setup. We saw something in Canada that was really neat. It was a research facility, but what they had built was a microgrid, and it was just an amazing thing to see.
What is that?
So a microgrid is basically like a self-sustaining grid. It's like your own grid off of the grid. It can have a grid interconnect, so where when you really need it, you can connect to the grid, but really you're kind of self-sustaining energy. You know, you're creating energy through solar panels, a series of wind turbines, and you're independent. So if you can think about it, if we build communities around microgrids, not just build the communities, you know, just kind of willy-nilly and going out like, yeah, this is a great place for a development, and some guy just doing it just because it pads his pocketbooks, not because it's smart. But if we build the communities around the energy, or we take existing communities and we make space for the energy and surrounding area, then that's where we really kind of make that impact. And each community can kind of lead the way and show people, hey, look, this is doable on a utility scale. So we don't have to all individually, you know, put these things on our houses. Not that's bad, but we can do it a little bit smarter. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I wonder how, like, you know, and that's why, you know, getting back to the point where it's like so many countries are so slightly more progressive than we are. So it's like, how do we get to that point? Is it more the political side? You got to get things voted in, or can you just set one up, plop, plop, set a bunch of wind turbines up, and then you have your own grid?
I think you were asking me a question and I was trying to type something, but
Yeah. I was talking about the, like, you know, what would it take for it to be like that? Like how you say, you know, how, you know, these housing developments.
So
like
what it would take was essentially be the co-op structure that farmers use around the United States already. Co-op meaning just a cooperative of people that come together for a common goal, right? So at the co-op, you come in and you bring whatever you have, and then that co-op helps you sell it to market, right? And so the same thing is with energy. You almost have to, if you already take an existing community, right? Say there's 100,000 people. Let's take Cedar City, right? So this is a great example. Cedar City has about 25,000 people. We petition the city and say, hey, look, we can create our own power created by, and we own it as our own municipality, right? We create it. We pay for it. This is how much it's going to cost. Let's you know, over the life, or, you know, the initial cost is this, and over the life it's going to be this. let's raise the funds. Let's see what the government can give us to help do this. There's cities in Kansas that are doing this, or towns in Kansas that are just. There's one called Greenville. It got completely wiped out by a tornado, and really bad tornado, and then it built itself back up green, and it did that because it kind of had a new start. But for existing communities, you have to present a business model to the community, say this is what we're looking at, this is what the microgrid's going to cost. Now if you want to participate in it and you want to consume this power, this is what we're going to have to do. And for most people right now, that seems like too much work. Nobody wants to go to a city council meeting. Nobody wants to really be participating in this, but there are some progressive people out there that would really enjoy something like that. So I think it's more likely that people will develop new communities than to kind of revamp their old ones. Just because it's a little bit more work.
Revamp an old one, you have to get control of the electricity, but usually electric companies already in control of that.
Right, and they already have the infrastructure in the area, and you would kind of have to take
how
that away from them.
You produce the energy, you sell it to them, and then they sell it.
Right, and so it's almost like you're taking away from them. Do they want that? No. Do energy companies want microgrids and individual companies to create their own power? No, that takes away from their bottom line. So you have to, you have to take that away from them, and they're not going to be happy, and they're probably going to fight you in some way. It's that there again.
Unless you have the capital,
right?
It matters on it. Like you say, you got to see who you're dealing with, who's the CEO, who's the talking to the right people, working with the right people, and then it goes from there.
Right. Yeah. So what we're talking about is essentially something that I want to do here in Cedar City. It's a dream of mine. And we have the wind resources available. We're monitoring them now. We had to put up a few more monitoring stations to make sure that it's legit at multiple heights, because right now we're only measuring at a few different heights. We need to measure a little bit higher so that we know the wind speeds up 400, 500 feet above. But this facility that I'm talking about would actually power the community, and then also educate the people within it to figure out how to maintain these wind turbines, as well as the rest of the TCGM community, because I'm sure people would want to come and be a part of it. So things like this already exist. I went to one in Canada. I've been to one in New Mexico. And they shine, but most of it is kind of state funded and all that. I'm really trying to go private with this because I don't want all those restrictions. And as you can see, I'm already running a business that is really promoting wind energy and people within it. So I don't know if I necessarily need that state and government influence. I think I definitely need their approval in some way. But I don't know if that's the greatest partner. So as you can see, but like you mentioned with Tesla, right? Like it's a little bit easier when you just got your own thing going.
Exactly. When you got the capital, it's always easy. He's like, you know what? I'm going to do this car. Pays the people, it's a major investment. And of course, they're going to lose money. You lose money in investing, but you're getting your money back. Like you say, with the wind turbines for one single one, they could take 5, 7 years, 10 years max, maybe.
Yeah, some wind turbines pay themselves off within 5 years. I'm not sure the quickest one. That's a pretty good payoff. But even if at 10 years, they'll go for another 20. Even if you got to plop in a new gearbox, which is a couple $100,000 or maybe $300,000, still pretty good, man. So
it's always good. So it's just like you say, it's just getting the people that are into it already, that are willing to invest. So if you're talking about a wind farm with 50 or 60 of these out there, and then getting it out where, sometimes you got to be almost like a the strategist as far as development wise too, because you got to see, you set up these wind turbines and then they're going to start building 10 years down the line in this community, and then you end up, it's like the jackpot,
Right.
kind of like, you're okay. And of course, then you have these housing communities who kind of cookie cutter homes per se, and then they go and, you're housing, you're giving the energy to 3, 4, 5, 6, 700 homes, 8, 900,
I think what we're going to end up doing with this, because this podcast isn't too far along in its advancements, I think we're going to really reach out to people that we can have these conversations with, together, like myself and you, and then like talking to an expert about this in the particular field. And I think that's something that would really help this and help us get along, because there's a lot that we still don't know. And that was kind of the point of creating this podcast. Like, I'm a 10-year veteran in this wind industry space. Mm-hmm. I help construct sites. I know the cost of the turbines. I know what it takes to construct a whole wind farm. I also know how to maintain them as well as manage the wind farm and the budget that goes into it. But there's so much more to it, with the development of it. And is it possible to make these kind of hybrid deals like we're talking about with microgrids, taking large scale utility turbines, maybe not building, huge arrays of them. Mm-hmm. It would be great to get somebody like that, maybe even politicians, and talk to them about the things that are, negatively affecting it. I don't know.
Where you have to, it seems like you would have to start those things like, where it would have to start is, like you say, the smaller cities. If the smaller cities aren't really affected, the larger cities are already, it seems like until you get the capital, like you say, like Elon Musk, until he had the capital, he just did a full electric car. And it set the United States on fire as far as like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? And then now everybody's doing these half and half. They don't want to go full. There's a couple of them that were full, like Nissan, BMW, and some of those. They're kind of like, okay, I guess we'll do it. Yeah. So they, the main thing is, see, this is the thing. This is what I started realizing. Just like, how we go and you buy a laptop computer. Mm-hmm. You buy a laptop computer, you buy it, and it seems like 6 months to a year down the line, it is obsolete.
Yeah, I hope this one that I got it.
It's like, ooh, I got another shiny toy. They just go up just a little bit, just so you want to buy something else. That's how these car companies are. I started reading up on the electric engines, so the electric car engines are 20 times more reliable than a combustible engine.
Okay, so I see what That's not making money. Yeah, that doesn't stimulate the service market. But I did see a really nasty video of a Tesla catching on fire on a freeway, and that thing was like not getting put out.
Well, that was I'm so mad that I pulled out, because I invested thousands into Tesla, and when it was at like $100 and some, the low 100s, and that car was caught on fire because it was a metal plate. I remember it because I pulled out, because I lost like maybe $20 a share. I must have bought like 100 and some shares, but I should have stayed. I'm stupid. But it was just an emotional thing. I was like, oh crap, let me just get out of it and do something else. But
yeah, I understand that.
It was some type of something weird. It was like a freak accident where the blade comes up under, slashes the battery underneath. Now there's a warning sign that happened where it told them to pull over. So they pulled over, they got out of the car, and then the car burst into flames from underneath. So it gives you the warning and all that stuff. So that's when the stock dropped a little bit. But after that, there's been issues of those drive by yourself cars, because people are doing too much dumb stuff like falling asleep because it can drive itself. It's falling asleep at the wheel, and it's a machine. It's not. How do you say it? It's not human. It's not going to make emotional decisions.
Yeah.
If a car impulsively just jerks out in the way. But it's things like that where, you know, I saw that. And then now that stock is up at over $360 a share. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I saw that. I think that I saw in the news that I don't know if it was Tesla. I think it was Tesla that he was going to make it private again. He was going to like pull back the shares or buy them back or something and make it private again because there was a big Chinese investor that bought so much, and he was like, I don't want this or something like that. So my buddy told me about that when I was in Canada. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, who does that? He's going to make it
buy them all back
private again or something. I was like, wow.
There's a money making thing too. So he still won. And I started realizing that it's working with certain people. They're like, look, I own 100% of my company, or majority of my company. And that's where, you know, say you start off, you know, you own the majority of it, then you put 50% of it on the market. People start buying it. Now you get another person that has money who could be a billionaire or worth hundreds of millions. He invested millions and bought a big ball. He's like, oh no. It's like one of those things where you don't want to get pushed out of your own company. You started your tower climbing grease monkey, and you put it out there on the market, and then somebody with big money comes over and takes, you know, over a third, almost half of it. You can be like, after a while, shareholders, you know, control what's going on. They have a little pull.
Oh man. Well, some of the guys are saying that the feed is kind of cutting in and out, and I think we're about out of time. Cooper, thanks for calling in, man, and chatting with me. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah,
good talking to you.
It was good chatting to you too, man, and we'll chat later. All right.
Yes, sir. You take care.
All right. See ya. Well, cool, guys. I think for all you out there that have been in this thing, I think we're gonna do a $50 giveaway. So I'm just gonna randomly pick here. Actually, I'm just gonna pick Otis Lee, man. Otis, you've been with us this whole time. Otis, I'm gonna hook you up with a $50 gift card to the Last U.S. Bag Company. They've been a sponsor of mine for a long time, and Will Macia over there is willing to give out some cool stuff because he thinks this show is cool. So Otis, shout out to you, and thank you for watching. I noticed your comments throughout the show. I appreciate them, and we're gonna hook you up with a $50 gift card. Give me an email over at jobs, that's JOBS at tcgm.us, and I'll shoot you over a gift card for the Last U.S. Bag Company. So thank you guys for watching. It's been fun. We'll try to continue to get better and better guests and open things up. This was kind of an on-the-fly type of thing, and it was all right. It turned out okay. I got to talk to Cooper. We had a nice conversation about politicians, how things could go, microgrids, electric cars, all kinds of fun stuff. And, it turned out pretty good. So until next week, we're going to try to find some cool stuff, some cool people to talk to. If you have somebody you think we need to talk to and a subject that we need to talk about, let us know. You know where to find me, Tower Climbing Grease Monkeys. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Until next week, we're out.